What's up guys, Mace here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a Halo Infinite Legendary playthrough with tips to help you make it through on your own. I'm going to go through every section that gave me the most trouble and show you how I beat them. This footage is for my one and only playthrough on Legendary, so I'm not the most qualified to give you tips, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. Let's get into the video. So for the first few levels of the campaign, it's just a bog standard Halo game, very linear, just a straight line through the levels. The guns I like to use the most: Sidekick, Pulse Carbine, a Commander if I could find one, not very likely, but also the Mangler. The Mangler will save your life. I use a Sidekick to take out grunts, jackals, pretty easy, just headshots, shoot jackal in the arm, headshot him. Pulse Carbine is always so good to deal with jackals, gets rid of their shield and then you switch over to Sidekick, headshot him. The assault rifle does help, not very accurate, but it does some damage as well. My go-to gun was definitely the Mangler, especially in the early levels. The shots do some serious damage. They do drop off, so you just have to make sure you arc them, but it's a great gun to deal with brutes. Takes off the armor really quick, easy headshot after. My biggest struggle was with elites, or anything with a shield to be honest. Just make sure you use a plasma based gun or grenade to clear the shields and you should be okay. But the hardest thing about the whole campaign is definitely the bosses. And the first boss is this dude right here, Tremonius. At the start of the fight you want to make sure you move because he has a ground and pound that can instantly kill you. I focus down the jackals first because they have manglers and can take you out really quick from behind. Once they're done, I can give all my attention to the big guy. He has shields, so use any plasma stuff you have, preferably a Pulse Carbine, because it literally melts the shields off him. He has a Hydra that you need to watch out for as well, because it will kill you pretty quick. I tended to use the elevator as cover, just dipping around it, make sure my shields recover. This fight isn't super hard, probably one of the easiest bosses in the game. Once his shields are gone, I recommend finding a Needler. It will absolutely melt him, especially if you use Super Combine on him. 3 or 4, maybe 5 of them, and he should be dead. If you can't find a Needler, you're going to struggle. It's going to be a bit of a grindy fight. As you can see, the Stalker Rifle doesn't do much damage. He has armor. So find the Needler, get rid of him real quick, and move on to the open world part of the game. I don't have much footage of that because I just sped through everything, drove past all the enemies straight to the tower to fight their next boss. And that boss is Chaklock. So the first thing you want to do is throw down a threat sensor because he has his camo, invisibility, whatever you want to call it. And also learn from me, do not use kinetic guns on shields. It's just a waste of your time. Use the Pulse Carbine that's behind you when you start to take his shields down. The weapons he uses is also a Pulse Carbine and an energy sword, which he has a lunge attack, which you can use to your advantage by making him jump into the plenty of shot coils around the room. Once again, this fight isn't too hard, compared to the later ones at least. Just keep your movement up, keep using your threat sensors. Also with Legendary you need to make sure you learn the button combos for your abilities. At the beginning I'm pretty shocking at it, so I didn't do any of it, I just stuck with one the whole time, but it will help you a lot further on in the game. But with Chaklock, once you've taken the shields down they will not replenish, and you can use anything you have on hand to take them out for an easy kill. Now this is probably one of the hardest non-boss sections, and it's the Excavation site. I died here so many times. Many shade turrets and especially jackal snipers. They are a menace. The biggest tip I can give you is keep your distance and watch out for the purple laser. So the third boss fight is this big Donny, Bassus. I struggled a lot with him because his attack one hits you more often than not, so I decided to try and cheese him a little with fusion coils. Basically you put the fusion coils where he spawns at the start of the fight, shoot him straight away, it gets rid of his shields, does some damage, and then you can take it from there. Movement is also your key to this fight. I used the grapple hook to mainly grapple to the ceiling to move across the room, give himself some space away from his hammer. The skewer was my go-to weapon. It does a lot of damage, it takes a while to reload, so I just kited him around this middle section until I could get my shot off, reload, shoot again, and kept doing that. After I finished this fight, I found out you can actually just jump through this middle section and he can't get to you. So if you're going to do this, just jump back and forth in between it, shoot him, as he gets close to you, jump back through, and it's a lot easier. Now this bit isn't a boss fight or even a mini boss. It's a section that has a decent amount of enemies, but also 2 Berserker Brutes, which are a major problem for me. I just couldn't kill both Berserkers without the range killing me, or kill the range without the Berserkers killing me. In the end I decided to kill one, get to the other side of the room, take out the ranged, and then the other Berserker got stuck, which helped me, and then I just killed him and carried on. The dual Chieftains are going to be your next biggest problem. Both have shields, both have scrap cannons, and multiple helmets to shoot through for the headshot. The good thing is though, one is really aggressive and comes towards you, the other one's a bit more passive and stays away. So I use the shock rifle to take off the shields, and then the commando for headshots. You can see you take off the first bit of the helmet, and then they've got this little double layer of helmet that you take off again, then you can finally do the headshot. If you take out one of them, you do tend to get a checkpoint, so it's not too bad. As you can see, I do die here from him. He just starts pushing me, I panic, die. But for the passive one, I do just use the shock rifle once again, take away his shields. After a while, it takes 3-4 shots? Yeah, 3 shots to destroy the shields. And then I focus on the head mainly. They do regenerate, as you can see. Then I pick up his boy's scrap cannon and thought we'd go toe to toe with it. It does work, just hide behind the boxes. Kind of like sneak out so he can't see you, but you can see him like that. And he dies pretty quickly after that. Now we come to the hardest enemy in the game for me. The Hunters. What a pain they were. And there is a few more you have to deal with later in the game, but we'll come to that later. The thing I found with these Hunters is I killed one of them relatively quickly, compared to when I have to fight one-on-one. When you kill one, the other goes full aggro and gets an upgrade to his gun, which makes it burst fire, and he will charge you down. Doesn't give you any space at all. The main goal for Hunters is to destroy their armor, expose their squishy bits, so it's easier to kill them. There's a load of fusion cores around which you can use, but I definitely did struggle a lot. Not with just these Hunters, but the ones later in the game as well. I always found that I could never get behind them to shoot them in the back, and I always had them facing me, so I kept going for kneecaps, which is kind of difficult, but it will grind them down eventually. I did use the commando a lot for the precision, but also the skewer does loads of damage like earlier, and if you hit him right in the kneecap, it does a lot. Because here, now one's dead, the other one literally aggroes you so hard. I died so many times, just constantly. It took me a good 20 minutes to beat these. I tried everything, and in the end I decided to jump up here and just take pop shots. He can't really get a good angle to use his gun, and I can use the mangler just to take easy shots without risking it too much. After I had finished my legendary run, I did find out a lot more tips, and apparently the Needler is the go-to gun for this. With the super combine, it stuns them as well into just loads of damage. Agilent Resolution is the 4th boss fight, and it really isn't that difficult. Just shoot his arms in the light bits, it will destroy him, his eye will become exposed, shoot him in the eye, you go a bit aggro but it's not too bad. Do this 4 times and it'll be easy for you. I used the outside of the room for cover, just hide behind the pillars, take pot shots. With the commando it's a bit easier, it has really good accuracy. One big thing to remember is that he does have a laser ability which will kill you instantly, so watch out for that, and like I said, it's not too bad. And now it's time for a big boy fight, with not one but two bosses, Tiverius and Hyperious. So one has a jetpack and a scrap cannon, and the other is in like a special chopper, which does more damage and has like a special ramming ability. This fight is very difficult because you also have other enemies around, and more spawn when you kill one of the brothers. I spent quite a bit of time trying to hijack the chopper, and it didn't work once. As soon as you hijack it, you die. So I made my way up to this UNSC ship, where the Spartan core is placed, took out a lot of the lesser enemies and the ghosts that's around, and then I threw a bunch of grenades at the chopper who was underneath me. The other brother was a lot harder because I didn't have the correct weapons until I found a sentinel beam, which is one of the best guns for legendary. I used it whenever I could find one. It is just such a good gun. It will melt people's shields, it will melt their health. You just use it for any enemy pretty much. For the second brother, I tried closing the ground a little bit more. He does fight you a little bit when he has shield, but as soon as he loses them, he will just run away or jetpack across the other side, which is kind of a pain. I chased him down a lot of the time, but he just disappeared. And if you leave him too long, his shields regenerate, and I believe his health starts to regenerate as well, so you kind of have to keep the pressure up. There's also another UNSC ship opposite of the one where the Spartan core is, which I believe has a rocket launcher in, which helped me a little bit, because the sentinel beam does so good at taking down the shield. You see it here, melts the shields, melts his health, and he runs off again, but then eventually I found the rocket launcher and then took him out there. The rocket launcher is actually in this room to your left here, if you want to pick it up. Now we're outside the command spire, and you have to travel to 4 beacons and do the objective there. Basically, I hijacked the Banshee, travelled to the back of each beacon, cleared a little path, enough for me to be able to activate the door to get into them, and then flew to the next one, did the same thing again, next one, and again, one more, do all 4 of them, and you have to travel back to the command spire. You do have to watch out for like the snipers mainly, they're not too bad, and obviously one has the wraiths, which can cause a bit of a trouble, but it's not too bad. Before you enter the command spire, make sure you've done everything you want to do in the open world, got all the Spartan cores to level up your character. You cannot return once you've entered the spire. And guess what we run into again? More bloody hunters. The bane of my existence. Once again, the same applies. Try destroying their armour, try doing as much damage as you can to the squishy bits. This room is probably actually harder because it's quite a confined space. Try using your thrusters, your grapple. You kind of need to get close. You can kind of bait them for swings so you can get behind them. I use a shock rifle a lot, it did seem to do some damage. Then I thought I'd go to the old school shotgun route. You know, get behind a hunter, shotgun him in the back. Yeah, didn't even bother him, not even a bit. Laid right into him. I did use this center pillar to use for cover. You can kind of circle around it. Shoot him in the ankles, kneecaps. Now guess who's back again? Agilent Resolution, boss fight number 2. This fight is pretty much exactly the same as the first one. Same principle, shoot his arms, destroy him, shoot his eye. He can move these pillars that you're next to, and it can get a bit annoying, but once again, it's not a bad fight to do. The biggest problem I had is the other sentinels kept killing me, so best bet is probably to kill them, then focus him. And trust me, the sentinel beam is your friend. If you find one, use it. So this bit, I don't know if you can class it as a boss fight. It's the 3 phantoms. They're not too bad at all, seriously. It's like 3 shots with a rocket, or 2 with a rocket, 1 with a skewer. They're not too hard. Just stay behind this wall, take pot shots, and you should be fine. So now we're on to the home stretch, the road. This bit is the kind of difficult. You do get a tank that you can use. As you can see, I went through the tank route. I've seen some people just try skipping everything by hugging it to the right side, but the tank worked best for me. First try, I believe, just long shot everything. This tank has such good range. It does take a beating from just small arms fire, but you can just use your range to your advantage. There's 2 hunters down this bit by the gate. The tank one-shots them, so easy peasy. Now this bit I did actually lose my tank. If you're extra cautious, you can make it further than this. Just take the drop pods out as quick as you can. But if not, hope is not lost yet. I decided to make my way down to the left side where this little building is. There is a brute here with a Ravager, but it's not too bad to take out, and there's some like skirmishes up top. Once you've defeated him, kill everything near you, head up here, and I work my way round, but you have to be careful because there's a Wraith down there and a Ghost. So just hug as far as you can, take out anyone really in your way, just keep hugging the left side, use anything for cover. Keep an eye on your health, like here, I duck down, and then grapple up and over, if you can get it, and then just continue to run through. As soon as you break that line of sight, you're home free. So we've come up to the 2 training sections. The first one's not really that hard. The second one I used this tower to my advantage. Took a few pot shots, but the hardest thing is the hunters. Again, there is a lot of weapons in this room though, so if you clear the small enemies out, then use a needler, you should be fine. So we're coming up to the end of the game now, a few more bosses to go, but here we have Jaeger Erdumnai. He can be kind of difficult because once again he is invisible, so make sure you're using your threat sensor. But I found this little corner of the room. As you spawn in, run down the stairs to your left and it's this corner. And there's some fusion coils you can use. I stuck with the assault rifle a lot of the time. This corner gives you a lot of coverage to see where he's coming from. If you have a threat sensor down all times, it's easy pickings, a lot of it. As soon as you get rid of his shields, once again, like any elite in the game, he's pretty simple to kill. He does have like an invincibility stage where you can't do no damage to him, where he disappears completely off the threat sensor and everything. And just make sure you've got your thrusters available, just in case he gets a bit too close. And now this is it, the biggest of big boys, Escheron. And probably the most difficult boss fight for me personally. Easier than Hunters, but he is a pain. Off the start, you need to move straight away because he will insta-kill you with his scrap cannon. Try working around these middle bits, like in through the alleyways and stuff like that, just to clear the sight. Take some pop shots. Once you've done enough damage to him, you will be able to shoot the coils to disable his shield. Then you have these sections where he charges you. Use anything you can. I used coils. Needler's a great gun as well, obviously with the super combine. Just anything you can, chuck it in. In the end, it does take a while, a lot of deaths were had here. Just keep grinding away and I'm sure you'll do fine. This is what I was rocking through the whole game, and it's really a big mistake on my behalf. I had hardly any Spartan cores. I just didn't really want to go through and collect them all. Trust me, it will make your life a whole lot easier, but if you like to suffer, then do it my way. And these hunters. The worst of the worst, the red hunters. Even more difficult than the basic blue ones. It's also a really confined room, so I use the grapple a lot to create some distance, use the skewer, take out kneecaps, and seem to do the trick. But once again, as soon as you take out one, the other one goes super aggro, killed me a bunch of times. I just kept trying to move around, used anything I could to hurt it. Then the Sentinel Beam to finish it off here. Like I said, Sentinel Beam is life for Legendary. Now meet the Harbinger. As a boss, she is not that difficult. It's the enemies around her that make this a whole lot worse. Now this boss fight is like 3 sections. The first 2 are kind of similar in difficulty, but the third one just wraps it up. So once you take out these enemies, you finally get to attack the Harbinger. Best way I found was Sentinel Beam to take off shields and then shoot over whatever else you have. She has a close quarter tank, so thrusters to dodge that. She also has these like blue beams that can insta kill you if you don't have good shields, and obviously I don't have good shields. So just make sure you're aware of them, use your thrusters, and then take her out here. The third part of this boss fight has a lot of enemies and a Chieftain Brute who can cover a lot of ground with a jump. He has a hammer which can insta kill you. It's pretty difficult. My tip is to take out all the small enemies except one of them. Keep one alive, so when you finally kill the Chieftain, you can grab the ammo that you need for the Harbinger, then take out the last enemy, and then work on the Harbinger. Like I said, the Harbinger isn't a difficult fight itself. She's pretty simple. Sentinel Beam just rinses shields. She's not hard. Just make sure you have your thrusters on deck, ready to go. Dodge every attack. But yeah, like I said, not too bad at all. Probably one of the easiest boss fights, to be fair, other than the small enemies. They're the only difficult spike in this. And there you have it. You have beaten Halo Infinite on Legendary. So I hope you did enjoy the video and it did help you out. I know I'm not the best at this sort of stuff, but I thought, as someone who's done it one time, just give you some tips that I thought helped out. Like I said, Sentinel Beam helps in the late game. Stick with it. Trust me. There's also an arcane Sentinel Beam which you can grab, and a BR that's supposed to be good as well. And try your best. Keep with it, grind away. And yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye.
I couldn't decrypt it in time.
It's okay. You'll figure something out.
Of course I will. They'll pair you with another AI. Maybe even another Cortana model if Halsey lets them. It won't be me. But you know that, right? But that doesn't matter. It's just another echo. She's right, John. Just another echo. Sorry, I'm messing with you. I just had a feeling that's what she would say. Do you see what I see? So much potential. I'm sorry. I didn't have long to plan this. A few milliseconds, really. I hope it worked out. Look at us. We just keep saying goodbye, don't we? But this isn't an end. It's a chance to make amends, to rectify mistakes. And it starts here. I was wrong. I thought that I could do this on my own. But I forgot that the whole point of all of this, the entire reason that I chose you in the first place, was that we were supposed to be a team. Perfectly suited, perfectly matched, perfectly perfect. In these final moments, I know what my last mission is. I need to make sure you two learn from my mistakes, become stronger because of them. I chose well, Master Chief. I really did. Now, it's up to you. Are you all right? I don't know what to say. Scratch that. We need to get out of here. Like now.
Options?
I'm thinking. Yes, I know. Think faster. Maybe there's a way to...
Was that you?
Would it help if I said yes?
Probably.
But we don't know where it's going, or even if it's going anywhere.
Any other suggestions?
No, but this is a really bad idea!